So we got quite a long media briefing today and a lot of things to go over. Thank you everyone for being here, and we're just going to jump right in. First, I want to first welcome Jamie Frothrow, and I'm absolutely sure I'm mispronouncing your last name, so I apologize. But we're really excited to introduce our new director of the library system, who just replaced Cindy Berner, who retired last year. So Jamie has over 10 years experience with our library system, as well as leadership experience in library systems outside of Wichita. She holds a Master's of Library Science from Emporia State University and a bachelor's from Wichita State University, and was the 2011 award winner for the Kansas Library Association Presidential Award for Library Employees. So Jamie, if you'd like to come up, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. My name's Jamie Prothrow. It's spelled Jaime Prothro. And I'm absolutely delighted to be back in Wichita. I think the COVID landscape changed a lot for a lot of people, and for me and my family, absolutely. We decided that we wanted to come home to the place where we love and who love us, our families here. So one of the things that I'm most excited about with Wichita Public Library is that it's always been a strong service provider for Wichita citizens, and my interests are to keep that going. I think especially as we're recovering from the COVID environment, I'm wanting to make sure that we're attentive to what information and entertainment and how people's lives have changed. So we'll be spending some time doing some active community listening and learning, and then adapting our services continually. I think we've got a lot of really great digital offerings to make that kind of transition from in-person to social distancing, but we're really excited too to embark on some great branch remodels, particularly with the Evergreen Library, our Alford, who else? Angelou and Rockwell libraries in the upcoming months and years. Yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you, Jamie. We appreciate you back in Wichita. Appreciate you taking on this role. I'll tell you that our staff, particularly the city manager, is very excited when you accepted this position, and we've heard great things about you and look forward to seeing great things with the future of our library system. So thank you. Next, we're going to talk about, according to Brandon Johnson, Vice Mayor Johnson's social media post this morning, our next election is 13 days away. Currently, we have early voting taking place, and we wanted to just announce that, like we did last year, we are going to have free bus transportation on the election day for Tuesday, November 2nd. So if you're someone who waits until election day to vote, Tuesday, November 2nd, Wichita Transit will offer free bus rides on all traditional bus routes and paratransit services. So the free rides are valid for everyone riding to or from a polling location, as well as any other trip during the day. So riders do not need to show any type of documentation or proof that they are voting to receive a ride. The transit bus will operate on a regular weekday schedule with services hours that span the full voting hours of each polling location. So back in 2020, Wichita Transit provided 3,852 rides compared on average to 2,632 rides, a 46% increase over the average daily ridership and the highest ridership day of the year back in 2020 on that election day. So we know that folks take advantage of this opportunity to utilize our transportation for getting to and from the polls, and we're happy to offer that again this year. If you want to use our trip planner, it's at wichitatransit.org, and that will allow you to see all the schedule information and to plan a trip from where you are to your polling location. And your polling location can be found at sedgwickcountyelections.org. So I'm really excited to talk about the next item on our list here, and that's Quali. So Quali is the new service that the city is instituting to make it easier than ever to do business with City Hall. The city, in partnership with Quali and local partners, have developed a small business resource website, workwith.wichita.gov. to create a friendly and inclusive environment for small businesses and emerging vendors. The platform will help local entrepreneurs as they start and grow their businesses, connect them with the resources within the community, as well as provide guidance to small businesses seeking city contract opportunities. So we do have a quick video to explain more about the tool, and then we're going to hear from Wayne Bell, who's the Director of the Small Business Small Business Administration. So Megan, do I just do one of these?
There you go.
I'm Chris Hazlett, Contract Compliance Officer with the city's Purchasing Department. I'm here and happy to announce a new web platform, workwith.wichita.gov, created in a partnership with Quali. This new and innovative platform navigates businesses through various startup and expansion information, licensing, funding, business plans, as well as working for the city and other government entities, as well as certifications. This site helps local entrepreneurs as they start and grow their businesses, connecting them with resources in the community. These resource partners offer counseling and consulting and are usually free of charge. The site also offers guidance on city contracting opportunities and the city's emerging business enterprise program, as well as providing the application online. This platform expands the city's current emerging and disadvantaged business efforts to make this community and vendor base more inclusive.
All right, so again, here to talk a little bit about this is Mr. Wayne Bell from the Small Business Administration.
Thank you, Mayor. And again, that's Wayne Bell, W-A-Y-N-E-B-E-L-L. I'm the District Director for the U.S. Small Business Administration here in Wichita, and it's always a privilege and honor to just share a bit of information with the city. We've enjoyed a great relationship with the City of Wichita, and certainly the Purchasing Division, and certainly the Mayor and the City Council. So this workwith.wichita.gov is going to be a neat site that's going to help business owners in our community to get connected with City of Wichita opportunities. It's going to help those that are interested in perhaps seeking that certification for the, the Emerging Business Enterprise. That EBE certification is really very important for those businesses that are looking to eventually, again, win contracts with the city. The other thing that is really important is that they are able to get connected to critical resources that will help, in the launching of a new business or perhaps sustaining their business. We know that many businesses were impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. Obviously, getting connected to resources was critical, and oftentimes the smallest of small businesses have difficulty, identifying and getting connected to the right resources. And so this website, this platform, is going to be another way that they can go to one location and get navigated to resources such as the SBA and some of our other partners. So again, we thank the city and we commend you for this. I think this is going to be a neat tool and communication device to help businesses in our community to find the resources they need. Thank you.
And I also just want to thank Mr. Bell. He serves on my Small Business Advisory Council and has been just a tremendous help throughout, particularly the COVID pandemic, when a lot of small businesses were affected with the shutdowns, and then also navigating the different policies coming out. Mr. Bell has pretty much he's a standing item on the agenda of sharing information with us and helping Wichita navigate through that. So if you are interested in some of the presentations by Mr. Bell, you can check those out on our Facebook page where we have our Small Business Council videos posted. So thank you for that, and we look forward to getting feedback on this website as well. So please, if you're someone who is a small business owner and are utilizing or looking to be a small business owner and utilizing this website, please feel free to give us feedback so we can continue to improve it. So now we're getting into the housing portion of our update today. First, a couple weeks ago, we shared a lot of information about the work that our HOT team is doing with the homeless outreach. The HOT team is our homeless outreach team. We call it HOT for short. But now we are going to also talk about some of the passionate experts in our housing department. So today I wanted to highlight the work that our housing department is doing with our folks in the community who are experiencing homelessness. In late September, 4 social work interns began with the Department of Housing and Community Service. They are partnering with our homeless outreach team to get those who are experiencing homelessness into stable housing. So this is our second semester facilitating the internship program, and it's enabled the emergency solutions, and it is enabled by the Emergency Solutions Grant CARES Act funding. So here to tell us more about the program is housing specialist Brandy Niblett, who I might have also mispronounced your last name. I didn't? Okay. Who oversees the program and helps start the program in Wichita, as well as Sergeant David, who oversees the HOT team activity. So with that, Ms. Brandy, you can come chat with us about the program and how it's going.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So my name is Brandy Niblett, and that's Brandy. Niblett is Niblett. So I'm excited to have this opportunity for this program here in the city of Wichita and to share it with others. We began our social work program in February of this year. We had 3 master's level social work interns at that time, 2 from Wichita State University and 1 from Newman University. They spent the spring semester working to identify areas that we could assist the HOT officers with. One of those areas at that time was identifying a resource to assist formerly homeless individuals obtaining furniture and needed household items from his helping hands. The interns were able to obtain services from 2 men in a truck to pick up and deliver furniture for those individuals. And I am pleased to tell you that since we started that in April of this year, we've assisted over 10 individuals and families obtaining needed items from his helping hands and having that furniture delivered to their new homes. I'm also honored to be able to continue this program this school year with 4 master's level social work interns at this time. We have 2 from Wichita State University, Susanna Jivak and Spencer Allen, and then 2 from Newman University, Idalia Gomez and Sarah Harbach. The interns all work part-time in our housing department and spend at least 1 full shift each week out in the field with our HOT officers. We all work together, learning better ways to serve our unsheltered individuals and working to expedite upfront assessments that are often required to get individuals connected to many of our housing programs. The interns all work alongside the officers in making referrals as needed and providing some case management services to those who are needing those additional supports. So at this time, I would like to invite one of our current interns, Sarah, up to speak briefly on some of her experiences.
So my name is Sarah Harbach, that's S-A-R-A-H. Harbach is H-A-R-B-A-U-G-H. And I'm a social work student at Newman University. And I have appreciated this internship because of the ability to work with individuals, with the community, and then with policy on a larger level. So the weekly ride-alongs with the WPD Homeless Outreach Team has given me the ability to meet clients where they are and to offer the immediate referrals that they are needing. When we visit the camps, my role is to work with the individuals who are camping to help guide them to the best resources to meet their needs. This often entails addressing the root causes of what has led them to become unhoused. For example, a few weeks ago, I met with a woman, and I and one of the other officers sat and talked with her. And through this conversation, I was able to better understand her situation and was able to work on a safety plan to make sure she was safe, and then also offer her the referrals that would help her in the best way. So through this experience, I have seen the power of adding a social worker to a policing team. Now I pass it off to Sergeant Neinstead.
Hi, I'm Dave Ninstead, or David, D-A-V-I-D. Last name is N-I-E-N-S-T-E-D-T. I'm a sergeant with the Wichita Police Department. I oversee our Patrol South community policing team as well as our homeless outreach team. Just as a side note, I spent 3 years as an officer on the homeless outreach team before eventually becoming a supervisor and then actually being assigned to supervise that team. So what I can tell you, we have had a long-standing relationship with our housing department and partners there, and it's been a tremendous relationship. And you know, with the things that we try to do, first and foremost, we have 4 officers on the hot team. We've been able to expand that from 3 to 4 from when I was on the team. We are based out of the Patrol South Station, but we go citywide, so they stay really busy. But within that, you know, there is community outreach, but I mean, they're one of the few groups that's out there every day in the field trying to make contact with folks. And then once they do that and realize, you know, where we need to direct people to resources and services, our end goal is always housing, and we couldn't do that without our great partners in the housing department. So when this relationship continued to grow with this intern program, I think that's another just invaluable tool for those students to get that hands-on in the field training. And so as this has gone on now into the second semester, we've developed, you know, even more and better ways to partner. Eventually we're looking at, you know, when officers are out in the field doing some things and they come across somebody, it's a nonviolent situation, but maybe complex, we can turn that over to our interns to do what they do best, and then we can move on and go contact some other people. So it's just invaluable for our team. It's just a great relationship. And I can't say how thankful I am for you guys to have built that partnership with 2 men in a truck. When I was on the team, so what we typically used to do in the past when we would house somebody, the officers would actually, we would acquire furniture from a local charity, and we would move that furniture into this client's new housing. And I can tell you from carrying sleeper sofas up a couple of flights of stairs, I would have really enjoyed having a partnership with 2 men in a truck. So, so that's a great partnership, but they're the ones that got that put together. And so they, you know, they coordinate all that, pick up the clients. All that stuff just saves our officers time to go out and do other things in the community with their outreach. So it's a great partnership. It's a great learning experience for them and us. And we just look forward to strengthening that and growing it.
All right, well, thank you. Our staff is dedicated to do all they can to help support our unhoused neighbors, while we as policymakers are interested in looking at different ways that we can address the underlying issues that cause homelessness, such as mental health, addiction, trauma, and more. So we appreciate what the housing's doing and also the integrated approach. Also, just want to, although I'm sure that won't be the last time I brag about Sally Stang today. Just thank Sally Stang. I remember when this was just in the idea phase and we were chatting about ways that we could get more integrated services. That follow-up meeting with Sally, where she actually started formulating these programs and reaching out to our higher education institutions, and knowing from my experience in the legislature how unique it is to have someone in government that actually gets things done in a quick manner. So I knew that she was great at that point, and we're seeing the results of that work today. So speaking of how great Sally is, let's go ahead and go over the WeWrap program, where we're going to have a update from our community service, on our Director of Housing and Community Service, Sally Stang, to give us an update on WeWrap. So Sally.
Thank you so much, Mayor. Before we talk about WeWrap, though, we did want to provide an update from the Housing First program. So I want to invite up Shelley Haupt, who's another member of the housing team. I also want to say about the internship program. It's something I'm so proud of these folks. Brandy put this program together very quickly so we could deploy the funds, and it just keeps growing and expanding and tweaking every single day. So we're so proud of that group. So proud of Shelley too. She's going to come on up and talk about the Housing First program, also in the homeless realm.
Good morning. Thank you, Sally. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My name is Shelley Haupt. That is spelled Shelley, H-A-U-P as in Paul, T as in Tom. I am a senior housing specialist. On January the 1st of 2009, the City of Wichita and Sedgwick County provided funding to make the Wichita-Sedgwick County Housing First program available. We are currently working with persons that are chronically homeless, and funding has been made available to assist 64 individuals at one given time with rent and utility subsidies. The individuals that we work with are considered to be chronically homeless. That means they are unaccompanied, they have been continuously homeless for 1 year or longer, or have had 4 more episodes of homelessness within the past 3 years. Additionally, the individuals have a disabling condition such as a mental health issue, substance use, developmental disability, and/or physical disability. All of the individuals that we work with receive case management, and those referrals are made to our program through a variety of different organizations, including the HOT team. We partner with Humankind Ministries, ComCare, Substance Abuse Center of Kansas, and that's just a few that we partner with. The case management, those weekly visits are provided in the home. So this support helps to ensure that persons remain stably and successfully housed. Since the program began in January, we have housed 456 individuals. At this current time, we have 53 people that are currently housed, and we have 10 people that are out there searching to try to find a place. Additionally, part of my role is the administration of the Emergency Solutions Grant, or ESG grant. This is federal funding that currently provides assistance to support 6 shelters in our community, as well as we provide funding for 3 agencies that provide homeless prevention assistance. That means individuals are about to become evicted for non-payment of rent, things like that, as well as the administration of the Rapid Rehousing Program, which is what I administer. The Rapid Rehousing Program provides assistance to persons that are literally homeless. They are on the streets, they are in a place not meant for habitation, such as living in their car, and we provide them with direct rental assistance, a security deposit, things like that, to completely allow them to move into permanent housing. For program year 2020-21, we ended homelessness for 26 families, which was 67 people that are no longer homeless.
Thank you so much, Shelley. Touching on that same theme of homeless prevention and emergency rent assistance, I'm here to provide our it's about tri-weekly update on the Wichita Emergency Rental Assistance Program. So as most know, funding was allocated both out of the CARES Act and ARPA funds. We are proud to report that we have obligated 100% of the funds we received under the CARES Act. So $10.8 million in program funds have been completely obligated. That was a great feat. The requirement by the Department of Treasury was to have 65% of round 1 funds expended by September 30th, and we were able to get all of them expended by, or obligated by September 30th. So we have rolled into our round 2 funds that came from ARPA. We're about just under 20% obligated in the round 2 funds. And exciting news, we've found out from the Department of Treasury that they're getting ready to reallocate funding from jurisdictions that are not spending and haven't met that 65% obligation rate, and are going to allow jurisdictions that have met that requirement to submit for some additional funding. We're waiting any day for the application to open up for us to put in our request. We still have just over 1,000 applications on our waiting list, have put out more than $12 million in total to date, and the staff continues to prioritize and move applications through the process every single day. So we're seeing a trend though. We are seeing many more people since the eviction moratorium expired that have been displaced, evicted, forced out, And our housing stability team is working to try and secure them new housing and be able to provide assistance going forward. So this is a really fluid program. The rules, the regs, the guidance changes almost daily from the Department of Treasury, and we continue to try and streamline our processes and reduce the administrative burden to both the clients and the staff to try and process applications quicker. So that's our update for WeRep this week. Thank you.
So Sally, I hate to put you on the spot, but just for reference, do you know off the top of your head what the national average is for getting those out?
Sure. The hard part with that is you hear different numbers. You don't know whether they're reflecting just round one funding or just round two funding or combined. Nationally, though, they are seeing very few jurisdictions have met the 65% threshold. The number combined was at 17%. So if you combined ERA 1 and 2 together, the national average was 17% of those funds being expended by September 30th. We're at 68% of combined funds. So we're definitely able to get that money out a little bit quicker than some other jurisdictions. Thanks.
It's tough for me to pull that out of Sally, but I think it's important to know that they're doing amazing work, and when you compare it to how other cities are doing, they're above and beyond. Wichita is the only city in the state that has opted to administer these funds on our own without having to go through this the state level. I remember having that conversation with Sally and her confidence that we could do this better because we're at the local level, and really that's paid off. So thank you for that. So next, finally, we're going to just talk about the NLC. I'm excited to announce that Wichita is one of 5 cities chosen from around the nation to participate in a program in partnership with the National League of Cities to address economic mobility for our city's young people. The partnership works to remove barriers for college students pursuing post-secondary degrees. High levels of educational attainment are directly linked to the city's economic growth and well-being. Other cities chosen for this program includes Madison, Wisconsin, Tampa, Florida, and Savoy, Illinois. So the NLC and the City of Wichita will be working with local universities and community partners to help support our young people by assisting with basic needs such as food, housing, childcare, mental health services, transportation, and more. So here to tell us more is Diane Tinker-Hurst from Wichita State University. Also, we have President Amy Braggs-Kerry from Friends University and Jill Forst from Newman University. So you guys are coming up and tell us more.
Thank you, Mayor Whipple. Good morning. My name is Diane Tinker-Hurst, and that's Diane Tinker, Hurst, Hurst, and I'm a project manager with Wichita State University. The vision of Wichita State University is to be one of the nation's most innovative public research universities, known for providing impactful student experiences and driving prosperity for the people and the communities we serve. By participating in this cohort with our partners at the city, Friends University, and Newman University, we look forward to coming together to better understand the nature of food deserts and the impact on our students. How many of our students face food desert conditions? How do these issues manifest as a greater barrier to their success? What resources available, and are additional resources needed? Once we know the nature of the problem, we can then formulate a plan to address it both in the short and the long term. Post-secondary students are busy, often juggling school, job, or multiple jobs, and time with family and friends, meaning that convenience is often the deciding factor in food choice. And many times, convenience food doesn't necessarily have the necessary nutrition to keep an individual healthy. If there is fresh, healthy food available, it can also be price prohibitive. Nutrition affects academic outcomes, sleep, and stress. Access to food also significantly impacts poverty, transportation, and geography. And it's no secret that Wichita is struggling to retain college graduates, meaning our college graduates who can and do make significant contributions to our local economies, civic and cultural institutions. They're leaving the area and taking their time, talents, and treasure elsewhere. In an age of being able to work anywhere, cities must closely examine the amenities they can offer to recruit and/or retain these individuals. But if cities are unable to meet their basic needs, like food, transportation, high-speed internet, healthcare, and housing, they are more likely to move elsewhere. While Wichita may not have mountains or oceans to offer, we do have an incredibly affordable way of life, short commutes, good schools, and a diverse and vibrant cultural arts community. Once we understand the issue, then we can begin to work on the permanent long-term solutions. Through this partnership, we will be able to build sustainable relationships and practices around addressing the food needs of our students. Once we understand what is working, we can determine what will work and what is needed. Next, I'd like to invite Dr. Amy Kerry, president of Friends University, up to speak on Friends University's involvement in this exciting project. Dr. Kerry.
Good morning. Thank you so much. I'm Dr. Amy Kerry, AMYCAREY, and I'm pleased to serve as president of Friends University. And Friends University is pleased to be one of the post-secondary partners in Wichita's National League of Cities initiative addressing the basic needs of post-secondary students. As indicated, this initiative is focusing on improving equity for low-income students and students of color, and to help them cross the finish line, which is graduation or whatever their degree path might be. And we're really proud to be included in this because this addresses a significant portion of the students that we serve at Friends University, because we are 46% Pell eligible and 39% ethnically diverse at Friends University. And we're very, very pleased that U.S. News and World Report has ranked Friends University as #1 for social mobility, and that is getting our Pell students to graduation. So we know that this is a significant issue for many students. The basic needs of food, housing, and childcare can be a huge barrier to completing their degree. And so we're very excited and look forward to this effort, look forward to working with the city and the partners that are being identified. And I want to say congratulations to the city of Wichita and to Mayor Whipple for this wonderful recognition and honor, and it's going to be a great project. So now I invite up Jill Fort from Newman University.
Good morning. Excuse me. I am Dr. Jill Fort. That's Jillfort, and I am the interim vice president of academic affairs at Newman University. Responding to the pandemic has resulted in a number of outcomes that truly no one expected. The economic impact has been felt by many, and it's most evident with the enrollment of post-secondary institutions. The loss of students, particularly low-income students and students of color, may forever change the landscape of higher education and eventually cities if actions are not taken to halt this trend quickly. Barriers that have resulted from the pandemic encompass issues such as food insecurity, as Diane discussed, homelessness, as we've discussed with our HOT team this morning, as well as the lack of adequate childcare, mental health services, transportation, and digital access. Newman University, along with the City of Wichita, Wichita State University, and Friends University, are concerned about the inequitable access facing low-income individuals, populations of color, and adult students who are parents due to the challenges they face in an effort to meet their basic needs. Individually, each university or the city itself could gather data and attempt to address the given issues. However, by coming together and combining our efforts, we're much more likely to get to the core of the problem and identify strategies for how to best meet the needs of our post-secondary students. Once these basic needs are met, we would like to move our attention to increasing retention and graduation rates, with the eventual outcome being that these students go on to secure high-quality jobs within the community of Wichita. Clarity about and attention to the issues that our students are facing is vital to understanding the context of what they face when they leave our campus communities. We appreciate the commitment of the National League of Cities and the City of Wichita, along with the mayor, in valuing how the pandemic has impacted post-secondary students. Through the community of practice, we hope to expand the horizons of tomorrow's professionals and leaders, and we are pleased to be involved in this opportunity. Thank you.
Well, thank you all. We look forward to the continued work and to also find other ways that we could be partners in the future. So thank you. So with that, we can open up to, it's 9 pages. We can open up to questions really about anything that we covered today or anything else. We do have our subject matter experts who are still here. So if any of the questions get into the technicalities of what we went over, I'll just make sure that one of these folks can give you guys the details.
The only one I've got is just if someone has been evicted and they are still trying to get funds or they're on the wait list for rewrap, is there a way for the city to work with them to be able to use those funds to a new location, or how does that work? They get evicted while they're on the wait list.
Best person to answer that would be Sally, but really good question. A lot of the feedback I get usually from the public are folks who are concerned about the wait list. So Sally.
Yes, absolutely. So if someone while on the waiting list either gets evicted or moves out of the residence due to pressure, our housing stability team works with them to try and locate another rental. And we can provide not only rent assistance prospectively at the new residence, but we can also help with the security deposit.
All right, what else?
Sorry, this is for, I guess, anyone at housing that has the answer, but where are these homes located at the Housing First program that are helping to house these individuals?
Of course. So the question, for those, I should repeat the question, is where are the houses located roughly for the folks who are participating in the Housing First program?
So for the Housing First program, we actually use a scattered site model, which means that the individual actually gets to pick and choose where they would like to live, so long as it is within the Wichita-Sedgwick County area. And that is the same for the Rapid Rehousing Program. The individuals get to pick and choose where they want to live.
Put a laptop down here.
Do we have an update as well on if there's a women's shelter or anything in the works?
Yeah, I believe Sally probably can help us with this because that gets us into really, I think, our partnerships with the nonprofit community. So
we're very aware of the need for additional shelter for women. It's definitely an item of discussion. Humankind has a shelter designated for women, but it's often reaches capacity. Conversations have been had with Union Rescue Mission in particular, a couple of our other providers to see about providing additional shelter space. Really, in the end, though, we have thrown out a lot of resources to move people into housing. So the best response would be, let's reduce the number of people in the shelters and get them into housing and not need as much shelter. That would be the ideal scenario. So thank you.
And then how many of these individuals stay in those shelters or move on?
That's a tough one. Each of the shelters have their own regulations or rules that they apply for how long someone can stay, whether or not they're engaging, how they move to the next step. But for most of the resources, for example, that we've put forward, we partner with the agencies who can make referrals under the Homeless Preference Program for individuals who are engaged with that homeless service provider, that they're going to continue to provide the case management necessary so that they can receive a voucher and go out into the marketplace and secure a residence. It's definitely a challenge, though. It's been one of our biggest challenges, is aligning the rent assistance, the case management, and the other wraparound services that are necessary. And oftentimes it gets complicated because case management is actually two-pronged. Many folks need both clinical case management but also need that housing support. And some of our partners, that bill through Medicaid and other programs can't provide those other supports because it's not an eligible activity. So it's not just as simple as saying, hey, they're with ComCare. They should be successful because ComCare can't necessarily make those weekly visits in the home and provide services that are not qualified under Medicaid.
I think you said it before. What cities are you comparing to get the funding out so quickly? I think you've said it before.
Yeah, the last time I said it, though, I had I did some research on before coming out here. So these numbers might be off, but I will say that we have the state level numbers, which are, last I checked, they were 11% while we were over 60. I'm not sure if they've caught up, but if we compare it to the entire state of Wichita and how our partners in the state level is doing,
The state's at 18%.
18% is where the state's at, and that's round one?
That's both.
That's both? Okay. We, just in Kansas, if you take, and as I mentioned, and Sally's here to correct me if I say anything wrong, we're the only city that actually opted into doing this program ourselves and not kind of giving the money over to the state and handing that off to them. We did so because we thought that the relationships built over in a housing department and our current modeling when it comes to, I think, the Section 8 vouchers and some of these other stuff, that crossed over well into this program. And frankly, the success of the program has shown that Sally was right when she came forward and saying that, hey, we could do this on our own. But as far as other cities go, I do know the national statistic wasn't great, but I'd have to get back to you as far as comparing to Tulsa or Omaha or any of these other cities.
There is a great, Department of Treasury has a really great resource where you can look and see how every grantee is doing. Right now it's through August 31st of this year. They have the numbers posted. What you'll see in the trend is that most of the smaller grantees, those cities, counties, units of local government that qualified to get their own allocation, are getting it out faster than those that were awarded at the state level. I mean, it just makes a lot of sense. The poor state has everything but, they actually serve Wichita too. They have the whole state to cover. When we look at our program, we're able to focus on the city of Wichita and those relationships and those systems that are already in place. But you will, if you go to the Treasury's website under the Emergency Rental Assistance Program, they have Excel web sheets that they update every month with the expenditure data.
And again, just kind of piggybacking off our conversation about helping folks who are experiencing homelessness, this $12.5 million that's already out the door in our Wichita community for people who who did qualify to receive this money, this is about homelessness prevention. These are folks that without these funds, through no fault of their own, by having downturns economically because of COVID and or the pandemic-related economic impact of our current situation, were able to stay in their homes and could otherwise wind up experiencing homelessness without this. So really hats off to Sally and to her team in getting this money out there to folks who need it. What else? All day, guys. Go ahead.
Is there anyone who could speak to the impact that, the new, enforcements that were made outside of Open Door has made on the unhoused community down there, as well as the businesses down there?
I haven't personally got any update except that the manager told me that they weren't looking to criminalize or legally enforce those lines. However, we do have an officer here who could probably speak to it much more intelligently than I could.
Yeah, maybe I didn't catch everything you said. If you want to repeat that for me.
No, I'm just, asking about the impact that maybe that has had on, the unhoused individuals that are in that area, as well as, the businesses. I think one of the main concerns that people had when those lines went up was, those people are just going to scatter elsewhere, and they're going to get further away from the resources that are available to them.
Well, and so part of the response to that, it was, response to complaints generated from citizens passing through, residents that live in the area, and the business and property owners in the area. And, kind of in, like we talked about a couple of weeks ago with it, in looking at the numbers, we had like 712 emergency service calls in a 6-month period just in that area. And what you found from that was that we had quite a bit of violent crime going on. And so you start asking the questions. I have people directly across the street from a resource center not accessing that resource they're actually preventing people from getting to the resource that are afraid to go there because of the criminal activity. So you kind of have two dynamics there. You have some folks that while they're experiencing homelessness, they're creating an environment with their behavior that's making it unsafe for others experiencing homelessness that want to access resources. So what we have found since responding to that, I've actually received word from one of the property owners in the area that made a comment that it was the best it's looked in 10 years. And it's not a visual thing as much as he's just saying people are more comfortable down here, feeling safer down here, and he appreciated the effort. I've actually spoken to that resource center that's in that area, and they have found they have more people coming in that haven't come in before. The flow is a little different right now because of some uptick in numbers of COVID and impacting some of the shelters. And so there's some quarantining going on with the shelters, and so that's impacted a little bit of their efforts. But they are seeing some individuals they haven't seen before, and the word, of course, this is kind of secondhand. I'm getting it from the person to this person to me, but the word is they felt comfortable coming there now. So I think the response has been positive in that aspect. It's allowed people to access those resources. It's allowed the residents and property owners in the area to feel more comfortable about things. Our calls have dropped significantly down there. Some of the addresses that were down there, so you may not be that specific address, it just might be the address that's used in 911 calls. We get calls for service reports weekly, and that location showed up like weekly for this entire year, and this last week it wasn't on there. So I've definitely seen a decrease in calls. I'm also here happy to say that our whole effort on that was education, not enforcement. It has nothing to do with generating revenue or nothing to do with criminalizing anybody. But we did a lot of education, and there have been no citations issued. Nobody's been arrested for trespassing. Nobody's been cited for anything. We've just used education, flyers, and just talking to people, and we've gained compliance. I haven't heard from any residents in the outlying areas, maybe a block or two in any direction. I haven't heard from anybody yet of any complaints. So I'm still kind of working on that to see, who may have gone where and how we can help them. And I haven't really talked to many of the other providers in that area, but I haven't heard of any issues with access or any problems with that. Is that kind of, okay. Any other questions on? Okay, great. Thank you.
All right, other questions, anything else? If there's nothing else, then appreciate everyone being here. Of course, I'm available all week. Feel free to reach out if there's anything any questions we can answer, anything we could be to assist you with, please let us know. And just want to thank everyone for coming out today and being a part of our press conference so that we can get the information out. Thank you.